Hi everyone, in this video I am going to teach you how to create and solve piecewise function. Let's begin with the definition. When we say piecewise function, it is a function in which more than one formula is used to define the output. Each formula has its own domain, and the domain of the function is the union of all these smaller domains. We notate this idea like this. So for every formula that we have, there is a corresponding domain for that. Okay, now let's go to the examples. Let's have this one. Evaluate f of x when x equals 0, b x equals 2, and for letter C, x equals positive 4. Let's start with A. So if x is equal to 0, what is our f of x? So as you notice, you have two formulas here, and you might be thinking, what formula are we going to use? So to answer that question, we need to ask ourselves first with this question. What domain is 0 part of? Is it part of the first domain or the second domain? Again, is 0 part of the first or the second domain? So to answer that question, we will replace the x's here in the domain by the 0. So let's check if 0 is part of the first domain. Is 0 less than positive 2? Yes. So that means it's part of the first domain, which means we will be using the first formula, which is x plus 2. So this is f of 0 equals x plus 2. So this is equal to 0 plus 2, which is equal to positive 2. That is our f of 0. Okay, letter B. Let's answer letter B. X equals positive 2. So f of positive 2 equals what? Is positive 2 part of what domain? First or second? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. So is 2 less than positive 2? No, they are equal. How about the second one? Is 2 greater than or equal to positive 2? Yes, so that means it's part of the second domain, which means we will be using second domain here. That means we will be using this formula 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1, this is equal to 2 times 2 plus 1, which is equal to 4 plus 1, and that is equal to positive 5. So that is our f of positive 2. Let's answer letter C. X equals 4. Okay? So, again, is 4 part of what domain? Think about that. Okay, that is right. It's part of the second domain, because if you replace that x by 4, is 4 greater than or equal to positive 2? And the answer is yes, right? So that means we will be using 2x plus 1 also. So 2x plus 1 is the formula that we will use. That means we will replace that x by 4 plus 1, and this is equal to 8 plus 1, which is equal to positive 9. Okay, now let's go to the next example. Here, we need to evaluate again the function. If letter A, we need to evaluate f of negative 3. Okay, f of negative 3. So, is negative 3 part of what domain? First, second, or third? Let's check. Is x less than or equal to negative 1? Yes, so that means we will be using the first formula, which is x squared minus 1. This is negative 3 squared minus 1, right? Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9 minus 1, and this is equal to positive 8. So f of negative 3 is equal to positive 8. Letter B, f of 4 equals what? So let's check again. Let's answer this question again. Is 4 part of what domain? First, second, or third? Let's try the first one. Is 4 less than or equal to negative 1? No. Is 4 less than negative 1? Yes. But is it less than or equal to 4? Yes, also. So there are two. The answers are two yeses. That means we will use it's part of the second domain, which means this is the formula that we will use. And here, it's not a formula, it's just a 7. So that means the answer is 7. Okay. Letter C, f of 5. Okay. So let's check. Is 5 part of what domain? First, second, or third? That is right. It's obviously third, because if you're going to replace that x by 5, the answer will be yes, right? Is 5 greater than 4? Yes. So which means we will be using 2x minus 1 over 3. So we will replace that x by positive 5. 2 times 5 minus 1 over 3. This is 10 minus 1 over 3. That's 9 over 3, which is equal to positive 3. That's our f of 5. Let's answer the last one, D, 8. What do you think? Is 8 part of what domain? That is right. That is right. Part of the third domain, right? So we will still be using 2x minus 1 over 3. Okay. So this is equal to 2 times 8 minus 1 over 3. 2 times 8 is 16 minus 1 over 3. 16 minus 1 is 15 over 3, right? Which is equal to 5. So that means f of 8 equals 5. Okay, let's go to the next example. Write a piecewise function that gives the cost C for an order of X shirts. How much is the cost of 100 shirts? So we have here the information. An initial charge of $20 to create the silk screen. And after that, it says here that $17 is the cost per shirt for orders 50 or fewer shirts. And then it's going to be 15.80 if you order more than 50 shirts. So the first thing we will do here is to create a piecewise function. Okay. Now, before we do that, let's have some, we need to, the things that we need to remember. The first is there is an initial charge of $20. Okay. Okay, and then let X be the number of shirts. Okay, so here we go. First formula, $17. Okay, $17 per shirt, and then there is an additional of $20. That's the formula, and the domain is this: 50 or fewer shirts, which means our X is less than or equal to 50. 50 or fewer shirts. X is less than or equal to 50. The next formula will be $15.80, okay, plus $20. Okay, that is if you're going to order more than 50 shirts. So this is the piecewise function that we have that represents the problem. Let's answer the question. How much is the cost of 100 shirts? So the first question we need to ask ourselves is that, is 100 part of what domain? First or second domain? Obviously the second domain, so that means we will be using this formula. So f of 100 is equal to 15.80 times 100 plus 20. So 15.80 times 100 is obviously 1,580 plus $20 is equal to $1,600. Okay, so that's the answer to the question. Let's go to the last example. You have a summer job that pays time and a half for overtime. That is, if you work more than 40 hours per week. Your hourly wage for the extra hours is 1.5 times your normal hourly wage of $7. How much will you get paid if you work for 35 hours and 45 hours? Again, so to answer that question, we need to create, I think, two formulas here and a piecewise function. So f of x equals, okay, so here. So let's have x as the number of hours. Okay. First formula. $7. Okay, hourly wage. That's times X. That's the formula. If you work, okay, 40 hours or less. Okay. Next, the second formula. If you work more than that, which means X minus 40. Okay, more than $40 is X minus 40, right? Now your X there is gonna be, it should be more than 40. Okay. So it should be 1.5 times your normal hourly wage, which is $7. So the reason why I'm writing the all the information there is because we need to simplify that. So which means 1, okay, 1.5 times 7 is equal to 10.5. So now your normal hourly wage, or the hourly wage after 40 hours, or the overtime pay, is going to be 10.50x. Okay. Or 10.50 rather times x minus 40. Okay. But, okay, we still need to remember this thing. What is that? This is only the overtime pay beyond 40 hours. So that means there is something we need to add here. And what is that? What do you think? Again, I will repeat. This formula, which is 10.5 times x minus 40, that represents the amount of money you're going to have if you work more than 40 hours. Okay? So we will add that amount to what amount? That is absolutely correct. To the total amount of money you get for working 40 hours, which is what? That is 7 times 40. Okay, 7 times 40, which is $280. Okay, plus $280. So the domain for that is obviously greater than 40. Okay, so now we have the two formulas, and I know the second formula is quite complicated, but I will explain that again. So this 10.5 times x minus 40 is because of 1.5 times $7. Okay, and then you got the x minus 40. Obviously, the domain should be, or that x should be greater than 40. And the reason why we have that plus $280 is we are assuming here that you already work for 40 hours. That means you already have that money, the $280. Okay, so let's answer the question now. If you work for 35 hours, how much money are you going to get? So the first question is it part of the first domain or the second domain? Okay, so obviously the first domain. Okay, so for 35 hours, that means $7 times 35. Okay, so which means the answer is 7 times 7 times 35 is equal to $245. Okay, $245. Now let's answer the second one. You work 45 hours. Okay, 45 hours. So that means, the first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what formula are we going to use? Or is 45 part of what domain? First or second? Obviously second, right? 45 is greater than 40, so that means we will be using this formula. Okay, so that's 10.5, okay, times 45 minus 40 plus $280. So 10.5 times 5 plus $280. So 10.5 times 5 is equal to 52.5 plus 200 and plus $280. So 52.5 plus 280 is equal to $332.50. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Please subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.